Have you ever tried this? Go ahead, use one hand, and try to tickle the other. Nothing. Maybe it's a little annoying. Maybe it feels like someone gently poking your skin, but it doesn't make you burst into laughter. Now ask a friend to do the exact same thing. Suddenly, you can't stop laughing, which is strange. The fingers are the same, the skin is the same, the amount of pressure is almost identical. So why does one tiny difference completely change the experience? It sounds like one of those random questions your brain invents at 2 in the morning, but hidden inside it is one of the most fascinating secrets about how your brain works. Because the reason you can't tickle yourself is the same reason you can walk without staring at your feet. It's the reason you don't panic every time you blink. It's even one of the reasons you know what's you and what isn't. And once you understand what's happening, you'll never think about your own brain the same way again. Imagine you're walking home alone. Suddenly, you feel something brush against your shoulder. Your heart jumps. Your brain instantly asks, "What was that? Was it a bug? A person? A tree branch?" For a split second, your brain treats it like a possible threat. Now imagine that same touch came from your own hand. You wouldn't even react. You already knew it was coming. The touch wasn't a surprise, and that's the key. Your brain is obsessed with one thing: predicting the future. Not next year, not tomorrow, the next fraction of a second. Every movement you make, every step, every blink, every breath. Your brain is constantly making predictions about what's about to happen. Because if it had to wait until after something happened, you'd react too slowly. Think about catching a ball. By the time your eyes send information to your brain, the ball has already moved. If your brain only reacted to what already happened, you'd miss almost every catch. Instead, it predicts where the ball will be before it gets there. Your brain isn't just watching reality, it's guessing reality. And most of the time, it's unbelievably good at it. But this isn't even the strangest part, because your brain doesn't just predict what you'll see. It predicts what you'll hear, what you'll feel, even what your own body is about to do. Imagine reaching for a coffee mug. Long before your fingers touch it, your brain has already predicted exactly how that contact should feel. The pressure, the temperature, the texture. So when your fingers finally make contact, your brain compares reality with its prediction. If everything matches, it quietly says, "Yep, exactly what I expected." And then something incredible happens. It turns the signal down. Why? Because expected information isn't very useful. Your brain has limited attention. It can't treat every sensation like breaking news, so it filters out the predictable stuff so it can focus on surprises instead. It's like having a friend who texts you every morning saying, "Good morning." At first, you notice it. Eventually, your brain barely pays attention. But if that same friend suddenly texts, "There's a bear outside your house," now you have its full attention. Your brain works the same way. Predictable? Ignore most of it. Unpredictable? Pay attention immediately. And that's exactly why self-tickling doesn't work. The moment you decide to move your fingers, your brain already knows exactly where they're going, exactly when they'll touch your skin, exactly how that touch should feel. Nothing is unexpected. Nothing is surprising. So your brain turns the sensation down before it even arrives. The tickle gets canceled before it has a chance to become a real tickle. But things get even stranger. Scientists have actually tested this. Instead of letting people touch themselves directly, they built machines. A person would move one control, and somewhere else, a soft object would gently touch their hand. When there was no delay, people barely felt ticklish, just like touching themselves normally. But then, researchers introduced a tiny delay. just a fraction of a second. Suddenly, the exact same touch felt much more ticklish. Nothing about the touch had changed, only the timing. That tiny delay was enough to confuse the brain's prediction. For one brief moment, the touch became less predictable, and the brain started treating it more like it came from someone else. The real reason may surprise you. Tickling isn't really about touch, it's about surprise. Imagine someone hiding behind a door. You open it, boo! You jump. Now imagine they tell you exactly when they'll jump out. At exactly 3 p.m., I'm going to scare you. When 3 arrives, it's not nearly as scary. The surprise is gone. Tickling works the same way. Your brain loves surprises. Without surprise, the magic disappears. But here's the part nobody talks about. Your brain didn't ignore your own predictable touches. Life would be exhausting. Right now, you can feel your clothes touching your skin, your socks, your shirt, your hair, the chair beneath you, your tongue resting in your mouth. Except, you probably weren't noticing most of them until I mentioned them. Your brain filtered them out, not because they disappeared, but because they weren't important. Imagine experiencing every single one of those sensations at full intensity every second for your entire life. You'd struggle to focus on anything else. Filtering isn't a bug, it's one of your brain's greatest superpowers. And it goes far beyond touch. Have you ever noticed your own voice sounds weird in a recording? When you speak, part of what you hear comes through the air, but another part travels through your skull. Your brain combines both. That's why recordings sound so different. They're missing half the experience you're used to predicting. Or think about blinking. You blink thousands of times every day. Each blink briefly blocks your vision. Yet the world doesn't appear to go dark over and over again. Your brain predicts the interruption and smooths everything out. It's constantly editing reality, not because it's trying to fool you, but because it wants you to focus on what matters most. What happened next was even more surprising. Scientists began wondering whether this prediction system affects more than simple movements. The answer is yes, much more. Imagine picking up your phone. You don't consciously calculate how hard to squeeze it. Too little, it slips. Too much, you'd crush nothing, but you'd waste energy. Your brain predicts exactly how much force you need before your fingers even move. That's why most everyday actions feel effortless. Your brain has already rehearsed them countless times. In a way, you're living slightly ahead of the present, always preparing for what's about to happen, always making tiny predictions, millions of them, every single day. And when one prediction is wrong, that's when you notice. Maybe you step onto what looks like another stair, but there isn't one. Your whole body jolts, not because the missing step was dangerous, but because your prediction failed. Or someone pretends to hand you an object, then pulls it away at the last second. Your hand keeps reaching anyway. Your brain had already committed to the plan. It expected reality to cooperate. Sometimes, reality has other ideas. Here's something funny. People often think laughter means something is funny, but tickling proves that's not always true. You can laugh while desperately trying to escape. You can laugh even if you don't enjoy it. Your body is sending signals that are much more complicated than simple happiness. Scientists still debate exactly why humans evolved to be ticklish. Some think it helps us protect vulnerable areas like the neck or ribs. Others believe it strengthens social bonding through play. The truth is, we're still not completely sure. But regardless of why tickling exists, the reason you can't do it to yourself is much clearer. Your brain already knows you're the one behind it. No mystery, no uncertainty, no surprise. Which brings us to one final question. Could you ever fool your own brain? Maybe, if technology became advanced enough to perfectly disguise the source and timing of your own actions, you might experience sensations that genuinely feel external. Researchers are already exploring similar ideas in virtual reality and neuroscience, because understanding how the brain distinguishes me from not me isn't just interesting, it could help improve prosthetic limbs, treat certain neurological disorders, and even deepen our understanding of consciousness itself. All from asking one ridiculously simple question: why can't you tickle yourself? The answer isn't that your fingers are bad at tickling, it's that your brain is too smart to fall for its own tricks. Long before your fingers touch your skin, your brain has already predicted the entire event. It checks the prediction against reality, finds no surprises, and quietly turns the sensation down. Without surprise, there's no real tickle. So the next time someone else makes you burst into laughter, remember, the biggest difference isn't their fingers, it's your brain realizing, for once, I didn't see that coming. And maybe that's the most incredible part of all. Every moment you're awake, your brain isn't simply experiencing the world, it's constantly predicting it, editing it, filtering it, and quietly deciding what deserves your attention. Which means the reality you experience every day isn't just the world around you, it's the world your brain expected to find.